Progressives, this is your trigger warning. Hi, all you America First and thought criminals. Welcome back to Cordisco's Corner. And if you're new, welcome. This is awesome. This is absolutely freaking awesome. For the Daily Mail, Trump would fire tens of thousands of civil servants and gut the government to sort his agenda if he runs and wins in 2024. Let's try that again. I'm telling you, folks, this is the best news I've heard in a long time. That's one of my major criticisms of President Trump, and I'm a huge Trump supporter, still am, and was back then as well. That he didn't do what he was famous for. He listened to people like Paul Ryan and the Uniparty and the Rhino Republicans and went along to get along. No. I think his strategy might have been use a softer hand the first term and really push the second term, but that never came about. He hired guys like John Bolton, who I wouldn't pee on if he was on fire. All the warmongers. This is great news. I can't even tell you how awesome this is. Let's read on. Donald Trump has plans to purge the so-called deep state beyond what any president has done before if he runs for and wins the presidency in 2024. And as many as 50,000 government workers could find themselves on the chopping block. And those of you that don't want to do your jobs, you want to be political, that he can't fire, I'm going to send you in a warehouse somewhere to count paper clips until your retirement. The former president, if elected again, would move in with a plan being drawn up how to drain the swamp and cut tens of thousands of civil servants from what are typically apolitical roles. Now, that's the key phrase. Typically apolitical roles. They're not. They're deep state actors. And they're going against the agenda of the American people, of a duly elected president. It's as simple as that. It's incredible. He would clean house of mid-level staffers at the Pentagon, Justice Department, State Department, and beyond, and bring in thoroughly vetted candidates who are found to be more closely aligned with his America First agenda. Oh, no. It's dictator Trump. He's getting rid of everybody, replacing them with loyalists. The guy's a N-A-Z-I. He's going to do what they did in Europe, and he's going to take over as a dictator. And Now let's get the reaction from the deep state federal employees. That's okay. We'll find you a job somewhere. I'm sure they're hiring at Starbucks or McDonald's. Good. You would clean house of mid-level staffers, like we said. America First is not a Trump agenda. It's America First, your country first agenda. After interviews with over a dozen Trump world insiders, the outlet's investigation found that Trump is planning to use an executive order called Schedule F, which he issued in October 2020, and Biden later rescinded. He should have done that the day he was sworn in, January 20th, 2017. But he didn't. The order would reclassify tens of thousands of civil servants who are deemed to have some influence over policy as Schedule F employees. They should have zero influence over policy. You're there in the bureaucracy to help make the programs that were voted on or executive ordered by the president to be implemented, which would strip them of their employment protections. Yeah, which means you got to be like everybody else in the world. You don't do your job and do your job properly, you lose your job. New presidents typically replace about 4,000 political appointees to align agencies with their new agenda. But below them are the mass of federal workers who have strong employment protections and typically continue their roles from one administration to another. And there you have it. All we have now are Obama people. And that's what's been in there from the beginning. Make no mistake. The Trump official came with the Schedule F order, said it would apply to as many as 50,000 of some of the 2 million federal workers. Now, a lot of them are postal workers. I mean, things that you normally do. Who cares what their politics is? Other Trump allies say the figure would not be nearly that high because firing a smaller segment of anti-Trump bad apples would be enough to trigger bad behavior. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Doing so would strip mid-level government staffers of any sense of job stability and set a new precedent, forcing future new presidents to seek out and install their own loyalists throughout the bureaucracy. Royce Voigt, the former head of Trump's Office of Management and Budget, is reportedly working on plans to make the security clearance process less onerous and that more government workers could be made political appointees. Great. This is absolutely awesome. President Trump, it's about time. It's one of my main criticisms of you, and I'm a huge fan of yours. We're continuously bringing in on the toughest and most courageous fighters with the know-how and credibility to crush the deep state. Now everybody says, well, you know, John, he promised to drain the swamp. Remember that? Well, he got about halfway. He lowered the water in the swamp enough to expose these monsters that lay underneath the water. And there they are, and they're exposed, and they don't like it. While Trump and many of his former aides and allies are no longer in speaking terms, the former president was relying on a close cadre of still trusted former advisors who are working with conservative organizations to line up talent. Trump would bring in only those who are actively support his 2020 election fraud claims. That might be a mistake, but I'll let that go. Jeffrey Clark, a controversial lawyer who advocated for a plan to contest the election results, now finds himself in the crosshairs of the January 6th committee, and the FBI is thought to be in line for Attorney General. Now, how awesome would that be? Whether you like Jeffrey Clark or not, to make him the FBI director after all of this would be freaking awesome. Let me do my own personal clapping. Sources close to the president said Rick Grenell has a decent shot as Secretary of State. As acting director of national intelligence, Grenell was one of Trump's favorite officials toward the end, and he worked to declassify material from the Trump-Russia investigation, which there was no collusion. It was all a scam. Grenell now works on Newsmax. Here's the part that I really liked a lot. Kash Patel. Kash Patel is an incredibly intelligent, stand-up guy. I remember I saw him on a really long interview on Timcast one night, Timcast IRL, and they were talking, they call it the green room, the room downstairs where they go up into the room to do the show. And the show is 2 hours long. That's a long time to be talking about things. And before they went upstairs, Kash Patel's cell phone went off, and all you saw was 45. And Tim pulling on, they go, who's that? He goes, is that Trump? Yeah, that's Trump. Oh, my God. It was just, they were so in awe that the president was calling him while he was waiting to go on the show. Kash Patel, the chief of staff to acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller at the time of the attack on the Capitol, would likely be in line for a top national security job at the White House. He would make it through a Senate confirmation if he could. He could even be appointed CIA or FBI director. Now comes more applause. Kash Patel, head of the FBI? Oh my God, that would be so amazingly awesome. And I'm talking about people like Donald Trump. It would be such a huge plus for the American people in the country as a whole and our Constitution to wipe out the bad apples in the FBI, the DOJ, wipe them out. People that really want to go after real criminals and not take political sides. The fact of the matter is, well, you know, John, the FBI and all that and all the deep state people and the bureaucrats, they're all apolitical people. I'm going to say it plain and simple. Bullshit. Out and out bullshit. Once they became political, they made themselves targets. Let's read on. Former Trump officials still in his orbit are working on developing personnel policy and legal plans for potential future president, including Val. Former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, and you see the rest of the list. Others who remain close could be in contention for another White House role include, and you see the list there. And Peter Navarro, he deserves something. When they treated him, it was disgusting and despicable what they did to him and are doing right now. And as we speak, it just broke a couple hours ago. Steve Bannon was convicted of contempt of Congress, which is the same as chewing gum in class. But that's another video for another time. They're going after the Trump people. They're getting more and more desperate. And if and when Donald Trump wins the presidency again, these people will be scared to death. And no one will be happier than myself. Maybe things will work out. We'll have to see. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.